thanks again to NX for sponsoring our lightning talks this year. Up next is Leon Adato with Getting Away From It All, Unplugging as an IT Pro.
For the next 5 minutes, I dare you to put down your phone. Close your laptop, set aside your tablet. I double dog dare you. In fact, I bet you can't just sit there and listen to me, free from the techno bondage of beeps and tweets and pings. I triple dog dare you. Now, separating ourselves from our technology and the internet is not a new topic, but you have to appreciate how fast we've gotten here. I mean, it was just a decade and a half ago that the iPhone just debuted. At this point, 91% of Americans own a smartphone. 4.2 billion people across the world also do. And we know what it's doing to us, even if we can't quote these facts and figures. People feel, between YouTube and Netflix, people download 1 million hours of video every minute. We spend an average of 2.5 hours on social media every single day. We also know what it's doing to us, what it's taking us away from. Life. People feel worse about themselves after being on social media. Phone use has been linked to signs of depression and sleep deprivation. And in a recent survey, 40% of the people said that they would give up going to the gym, 25% said they'd give up television, 22% said they'd forego sex rather than get rid of their phone for a week. However, this is not a talk about how bad it is to be offline, to be in front of a screen. That would be disingenuous because I spend my entire day, every waking minute, ask my wife, in front of a screen. No, instead, what I want to talk about is how disconnecting sometimes and for some significant amount of time has real positive benefits to you, both in your life, both online and off. Now, you might have heard about fads like Flip Phone February or taking a data diet or technology cleanse as if the package could gum up the colon of your brain and give you idea constipation and ew. Anyway, you probably wondered what kind of unhinged wingnut would do something like that. Well, turns out I belong to a secret society of unhinged wingnuts. We do it every single week. We call it Shabbat. Now, before I go any further, I want to be clear. Judaism is not real big on people converting. So at no time during this talk am I going to ask you to join the tribe. Incidentally, I'm also not going to try to sell you Amway, which feels like the same thing. Instead, I simply want to share some ideas. On Shabbat, for 24 hours, anything with an on switch is off limits. However, I just told you that it only counts if you're Jewish, and since I am not in fact telling you to be Jewish, what's the point of this? Well, in addition to being part of that unhinged group of wingnuts, I also have worked in technology for 36 years. It's a completely different set of unhinged wingnuts. And I have disconnected every single week for a full day, which means that I have a unique perspective, and I also have some tips and workarounds that I want to share with you. So here's some advice. First, like almost everything else in technology, you will succeed or fail based on your plan. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you decide you want to disconnect from everything outside your house. Fabulous. All right, what about the podcasts you downloaded? All right, what about the movies you downloaded? What about the radio? My point is that you don't have to have the perfect plan. You simply have to have a plan and then iterate over it and improve it as you go. Sounds easy. Okay. Next, communicate your intentions that you're going to go offline to a few key friends and coworkers. And here's the thing you're going to tell them. You're going to say, I'm going to be out of data and cell range. That is exactly the phrase to use. Do not tell them, oh, I'm taking a data unplug. They will troll you until you go back. On the flip side, when you come back online, don't tell anyone. Trust me, they'll figure it out. So how often should you unplug, and for how long should you unplug? My advice is simple. For as long and as often as you feel would be beneficial, period. The point is to build up a habit of disconnecting, not to try to fit yourself into one size fits probably nobody ever kind of specification. Next, Set up some specific ideas about how you're going to reconnect, because if coming back online means 5 hours of slogging through email and social media, all your hard-won relaxation is going to be lost. You also need to mentally prepare for being offline. I have a friend who's an artist. He also goes offline for a whole day every week, and he has to exhaust himself creatively so that he's not running up a wall with ideas he can't do anything with over Shabbat. And that made me rethink how I approach work. Now, I really focus on the things that would have me frantic because I can't do them on Shabbat, rather than the things that just whatever comes up next. I also learned to look at notifications differently, or interruptions. Here's a trick. For 1 week, take a look at all the ways that you are notified about emergencies or things that happen at work, and really figure out, like, are they emergencies or just things that sounded like emergencies and they're not really? Which leads me to the worst interruption of all, outages. Despite the claims of supporting your work-life balance, the truth is that your work is not going to consider your me time inviolable if you decide, if the order entry system goes down. So what should you do if there's a real emergency? Well, here's the spoiler. Always opt for the thing that will allow you to keep a steady paycheck. My point here is you got to be flexible about what you're doing. Okay, so that takes me to on-call. Now, I've had managers who've respected my religious schedule, and I've also had managers who told me my religion is my problem to solve. And here's what I learned, is that balancing on-call and offline rests with me and the team, not my manager, and certainly not HR. Because if you can work it out with your team, you are golden. Everyone hates their on-call schedule, and if you can offer them other options, that is absolutely fantastic, and you, my friend, represent all sorts of options. Take a offer to trade day. Uh-oh.
That is time.
That is time. Wow. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.